Aw, nuts to this.
G.I. Joe versus Cobra.
And physics. G.I. Joe is one of the greatest American cartoons ever made. Did I say cartoons? I meant animated commercials for equally awesome toys. Yes, better than Transformers and Thundercats. What made G.I. Joe so totally rugged to 6 to 12-year-olds everywhere is its great characters on both the good and bad guy sides, cool toy tie-ins. I myself had well over 90 action figures and around 25 Pimpin' Joe and Cobra vehicles, and sweet storylines that were as epic to me back when I was 8 as the Harry Potter phenomenon is to the satanic youths of today's world. Take, for instance, the first animated Joe tale, G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero, aka the Saga of the Mass Device. It was a 5-episode-long miniseries, which was revolutionary back in the early 80s. That's like 100 minutes of high-quality animated smack. It was spread out over the course of a week so that kids could work themselves into a frenzy each day at school, just waiting to see what kind of crazy hijinks Scarlet, Snake Eyes, and Duke would get themselves into and out of the next day. The creation of the cartoon/commercial miniseries event was pure genius. Kids were hooked on Joe and Cobra like crack babies to hash. Another 5-part animated special and 2 seasons of half-hour episodes followed. And sadly, that was the end of an era. G.I. Joe had been decommissioned and millions of kids were heartbroken. We here at Nuts to This Media deny all existence of the waste of celluloid known as G.I. Joe the movie. It was not what the original writers and animators wanted to do, and it was only meant to launch the really lame toy line known as Cobra. It destroyed the plot that had been carefully set up over the past 85 episodes so completely that kids felt gypped, cheated, and pissed on, but I digress. So, it was with fond memories that I picked up a copy of the original Joe miniseries on VHS at a Blockbuster's years and years ago. But since then, it has been sitting on top of my TV stand. You see, I've had some incredible childhood memories blow up in my face as I tried to relive them in recent years. Nothing is as perfect as you remember it to be from your salad days, which, according to my thesaurus, means youth. So I was afraid that G.I. Joe would suffer the same fate, and as such, I wasn't willing to chance messing up such fond memories of running to my friend's house, he had a big screen TV, and having his psycho mom bake us burnt brownies and finger jello as we experienced the Battle of the Mass Device firsthand and picked which vehicles and weapons were our favorites. My personal fave being that awesome jetpack that the Joes had, but that they never used enough of. But then, one afternoon I got bored and decided to risk my Joe and Cobra-filled reminiscences. Rememberings. I popped the tape into my VCR and sat down for a few hours of childish escapism. What I witnessed brought a tear to my eye. It was everything that I remembered. Everything and then some. The some that I'm referring to are the parts of the plot that are so utterly and completely insane that even the writers of Michael Bay's ludicrous live-action Transformers movies would have thought it best to leave out or fix had they taken a crack at the script. Yes, everything was as I remembered it, but when I first watched this series, I didn't have as much smarts as I do now, and some of the physics and lines that are used throughout the story are really, really dumb. Now, if there was just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 goofs or mess-ups in the whole thing, I just chalked it up to this being a relatively low-budget commercial and the fact that the writers are only human. But as I watched it with my adult eyes, I compiled a 5-page handwritten list of all the things that truly confused the out of me as I rewatched G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero. I'll tackle each issue one at a time. But first, I want to remind everybody what the whole story was about, since I'll only cover the discombobulated theme in list form. It all starts out with Cobra and their weapons dealer Destro, mostly Destro, making a molecular transference machine, the Mass Device, that can teleport matter great distances and apparently destroy whole cities. Cobra wants to use this fancy doohickey to rule the world, but they need 3 catalytic elements to run it, and those elements are rare. G.I. Joe catches the matter transference bug too, and they get some crazy doctor living in New England to help them build a mass device to combat Cobra, the enemies. Then it gets hairy. Both forces, Joe and Cobra, race each other to the rare catalytic Why is that hard to say? Catalytic elements in order to power, or in Cobra's case, repower, their fancy electronics. Lots of battles and sacrifices are made, except not so much the sacrifices part. In the end, the day is saved by Cobra's infighting and Duke's horniness for freaky talking slave girl. Then everybody gets ready for G.I. Joe the miniseries 2, The Revenge of Cobra. You remember it now, don't you? If not, then you probably never saw it and shouldn't even be on this page. It's just going to be spoilerific, so piss off. Anyway, here's the list of zany kookiness that resides in G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, in order of appearance. Number 1. Let's start with the opening animation. What the is going on here? We begin with the Joes attacking in a full-out frontal assault the forces of Cobra. But Cobra is between the Joes and the Joe headquarters. Did Cobra somehow trick the Joes into abandoning their base, and then, while they were out just a few miles away, the Joes thought they left the stove on and returned only to find their enemy about to breach their undefended HQ? What's the story here? I want to watch a full episode of this. Number 2. Either Scarlett is a genius of Tom Cruise caliber when it comes to flying an F-14, or she's just a total effing nutcase. Or both. During her introduction, she flew that plane 3 feet above the ground right at her superior officer and the founders of the Joe team. If they hadn't ducked, and they only did so with 0.83 seconds to spare, they'd have been just another bug on that windshield. The velocity of the plane that close to them should have tossed them around like ragdolls too. And I love how Snake Eyes was the only one to look behind them at the incoming jet, and then he ducks without dragging his 2 buddies down with him. He's just like, fuck it, survival of the fittest, yo. Number 3. Scarlett just brushes off her attempted murder as Duke just not having a
spirit of adventure.
And because Duke still wants to bang her, he lets his near-death slide. Number 4. Then the Cobra forces, led by Major Blood, attack the Joe headquarters. They just appear. Duke says just 2 seconds before they appear,
"Something's coming in below our radar level."
But if there are dozens of loud jets approaching their isolated military base in the middle of the American Southwest desert, is that all one needs to do to sneak up on an enemy base hundreds of miles within the borders of their country? Just fly low the whole time? And they're still several hundred feet above the ground when they approach. Number 5. Never mind number 2. Screw Scarlett. Duke is the greatest pilot to have ever been born. The way he flew up below the Cobra plane, swooped upside down, and then still shot them down. Iron Eagle! 6. Oh my god. So Cobra just up G.I. Joe headquarters. You can see the whole base in flaming ruins in any of the ground shots, and almost all their Skystrikers have just been blown up, probably taking a large portion of their pilots and ground crew with them. And when Duke lands, he almost casually says,
"I want the Joes on full alert. Cobra's up to something big."
Understatement of the year! 7. And now we go to Cobra's hidden base, somewhere in the middle of some giant, foreboding, stormy mountains. It's this giant snake motif monstrosity that must have cost billions upon billions of Reagan-era dollars to build and years of time. Why waste that money on this really dumb-looking building? Take what you would have spent on those contractors to import all those building materials halfway up the Himalayas, add working plumbing and some nuclear generators, and you know what? Just instead lease some land on some already populated island in some poor South Asian country. Apparently, if you just fly your planes 100 feet in the air, you'll never even show up on anyone's radar anyway, so your location will still remain safe. 8. This isn't something that the writers got wrong with real-world physics or politics. I just love how Destro screws with the locals who dragged his luggage up the friggin' Matterhorn for him, just so that he wouldn't either have to pay him or kill them for their services.
The superstitious fools didn't even wait for their pay. Now, open the gate!
He does take a chance that they won't drop and damage his incredibly volatile and radiated cargo, though. Number 9. I take it back. The snake motif is totally worth it, just for Cobra Commander's pimp-ass swivel snake chair. Those fire pillars shooting out real fire 4 stories high seem to me to not be worth the financial cost to keep them running, unless they're in lieu of an actual furnace in the space. Number 10. When Duke is summoned by General Flagg to the top-secret military satellite facility, and Major Juanita Hooper asks if the correct paperwork has been filled out to have the Joes called in for this mission, all she says is,
I presume your request for G.I. Joe was filed correctly, General Flagg. Form BX257, requisition order MZ19 in triplicate.
And Duke looks like he himself in total confusion. He is a military man. How would asking if a certain form is filled out, even in triplicate, destroy his mental capacity so completely? The military lives on forms and paperwork. Number 11. Snake Eyes sneaking into the facility makes sense. He's a ducking ninja. But how did nobody on this top secret military base see or hear Scarlet's very loud and very bright jetpack shooting by just above their heads in the middle of the night? Number 12. Did General Flag really want the Joe team to blow up the base's front gate and launching facility's fuel supply just to prove they can get in? Rocket fuel can't be so cheap as to just piss it away on a training exercise. And how did the guards and regular grunts not take a shot at Stalker after he blasted through the front gate and looked and acted like a hostile target? Number 13. When General Flag shows the Joes the satellite.
Well, okay. Let me show it to you.
I can't believe none of them look as confused as Duke did when confronted by a small amount of paperwork. This satellite is already fully constructed and just sitting in a gigantic hangar, and it's about 10 stories tall. That's way too big for the space shuttle to handle. The hell were they thinking? Number 14. Okay, when Major Hooper tells the Joes to leave their weapons outside the satellite room, they just awkwardly place them on the ground like children being punished for something naughty. Number 15. Wait. Okay, so Destro's matter transference mass device has heating problems and can't teleport the satellite to them, but they instead plan to teleport a crap ton of troops and vehicles to the satellite. I'll just go with the flow that this device is possible in this world, but how is sending or retrieving things using this device any different from each other? And does he plan to just leave all those troops there on the other end when the operation is over and he can't retrieve them? Like he couldn't with the satellite? What is the plan here? Number 16. I'm already confused about Cobra's financial situation. I thought that they had an ass load of money behind them. I mean, they do have all matching uniforms, and when I had to buy my own matching uniform at Little Caesars, it cost me an arm and a leg, and that one didn't come with a gun. And that huge hidden temple cost a fortune as well. So why do their HISS tanks and motorcycles blow up from one hit from a laser bullet? Is their entire outer casing just one big fuel tank? No matter where the Joes hit a tank, it explodes. One tank took a single shot to the cockpit and immediately blew up. I won't even comment on the fact that both the Joe and Cobra specially trained armies can't hit the silhouette of a man standing with no cover 10 feet in front of him. That is just horrible training on both sides. Number 17. An army of 24 Cobra shock troopers teleport into the satellite facility with the element of surprise on their side, not to mention a few tanks, but then they actually retreat from Duke, Scarlet, Stalker, Snake Eyes, and an old fat man in a uniform 2 sizes too small for him. Cobra Commander obviously does not know how to shop around for good mercs. Number 18. Okay. So Destro just needed to read the instruction manual of the mass device in order to fix it and retrieve the satellite and the rest of the Cobra troops he sent to the US military base in the first place.
I have mastered the device.
Then why didn't he just wait those 3 minutes before sending anyone, fix the machine, and teleport the satellite straight to Cobra HQ with no loss of life or expensive vehicles? Number 19. When the satellite and the troops start getting teleported 5 feet in front of Duke and the gang, the Joes do nothing to stop them for a good 10 seconds, giving even Blood and the Baroness time to gloat, turn around, and run into the teleportation ray. Duke again looks like somebody soiled his pants for him when this happens. Like, what? We caught you! Fair and square! 20. Duke finally acts like a soldier when he's teleported to the Cobra HQ and begins beating the snot out of all the faceless minions sent in to subdue him. They overpower him eventually, and then Cobra Commander tells him to take him to the prison. No, wait, he said what?
Take him to the slave pens and prepare him for sport.
Slave pens? As in Cobra has actual slaves and enough to necessitate multiple pens? And he uses those slaves not just for labor, but sport? Dang, man, no, this is 1983. That is just not acceptable. Number 21. So that Well, a pretty giant satellite with a delicate antenna and dishes bristling it can launch itself into orbit without a space shuttle or a rocket? Why don't we build more of those? Save us some astronaut clock time too. And how can the countries of the world not trace the satellite's launch vector to see exactly where it originated, aka Cobra headquarters? Oh, right, because the miniseries would have been over way too quickly. Number 22. Why did Cobra and Destro even need the satellite to transmit teleportations in the first place? All they required to transfer the satellite to their base was a tracking beacon placed on the satellite. This makes even less sense when they still need the tracking beacon to teleport things to and from places even after they have the satellite. Number 23. Wait, there was actually a scientist back in 1983 that specialized in molecular transference?
Computer says it might be a form of molecular transference. If so, a Nobel Prize winning scientist, Dr. Laszlo Vandermeer, is the world's leading expert.
It's been like 40 years. Why haven't they mastered it yet so I don't have to drive my lazy ass to the grocery store today? Just teleport me some beanie weenies and I won't have to even get out of bed. Number 24. Let me get this straight. The Cobra organization has the power to override every television and radio signal in the world?
Monumental microchips! Looks like Cobra took over every television and radio terminal in the world!
What the hell else do they need? They could screw every world power over in no time flat with just that technology. Did Destro just convince the Cobra commander that he simply had to buy the marvelous and stupendous molecular transmitter in order to prove to the world that Cobra had fangs of steel and parts and labor are extra? I swear Destro could sell human excrement to people living in the gutter in Calcutta. 25. Back up. Cobra's big plan is to just keep teleporting landmarks to their base until the world surrenders to them? Won't their base get a little overcrowded after a few Eiffel Towers, Mount Rushmores, and Big Bens get transferred there? Number 26. So Duke wakes up in the slave pens and sees that everyone is being mind-controlled by their headbands. Cobra has mind-controlling headbands? Jeez, Cobra Commander, just focus on that and the TV interrupting tech, and that's all you need for global domination. F that overly complex mass device. That's just Destro upselling you, man. Oh, okay, I need a drink. I mean, a break. Hold on. Oh, okay, I'm back. That's much better. Number 27. Why do the Joe helicopter cockpits open well past the propeller blades? Do they have ejection seats too? Number 28. I take it that the Joe team doesn't undergo regular eye exams. They can't tell from 2 feet away that Major Blood is wearing an eye patch underneath his mask when he dresses up as Dr. Vandermeer? And why didn't they suspect that it was a trap when he said, "Welcome to New England"?
Welcome to New England.
Who the hell says that in real life? You either say, "Welcome to New Hampshire," or "Welcome to Boston." Welcome to New England?
Welcome to New England.
Did the person who wrote this just find out that there was a section of America called New England and he was eager to share this news with the viewing audience? They don't even point out on a map where New England is, so they can't claim that it was an educational decision. Number 29. Mr. Wizard never let us in on this little secret. Dried out firewood is some of the most explosive material on the planet. Never hide behind it in a firefight. Number 30. Okay, so Cobra has to retreat from the Joes after their ruse was discovered. That's understandable, but why in the hell did they leave the scientists for the Joes to save? If they had to keep them that close to the battlefield, they must have had their reasons. Shouldn't they have shot him in the head or something before they turned tail? That's just sloppy. I mean, what's the point of them even being there to greet the Joes? They gained nothing and they lost a ton of vehicles and men. Number 31. Gung-Ho's rushing 3 unarmed Cobra troops and then bear-hugging them into oblivion is an amazing sight to see. Why nobody involved has a weapon in this all-out firefight is a mystery, but don't worry, just watch this over and over again. This is great. Number 32. The Joes rout the Cobra forces, Blood and his men go on full retreat, and Scarlet then orders a ceasefire because they've had it.
Ceasefire! They've had it!
You know, you still don't know where Duke was taken or where the Cobra base is.
Duke!
Maybe, I don't know, at least capture a Cobra trooper and interrogate him? Or just shoot them all dead so they can't kill you in the future? Number 33. Now, here's the big one. Why the whoopity-doo-dah did this brilliant mind use 3 rare catalytic elements to power his super science-y teleportation machine?
I can begin construction on the mass device at once, but the 3 substances that power it are extremely rare. We must get them before Cobra does, or all is lost.
Why not plutonium or energon cubes, something you could at least swing by the army surplus store and pick up a few packs of?
You disgust me!
And how would he have known that these 3 rare catalytic elements actually work to the desired effect when they're so rare? Number 34. That other Cobra slave that Cobra Commander makes Duke fight is massive. He's like 10 feet and 600 pounds of pure muscle. Where'd they find that monster? Number 35. Duke is a prisoner of Cobra, and by means of the slave device on his head, he has to do whatever they want him to do. But how much direct control over Duke's motor reflexes could Destro truly have had with just a simple joystick controller? Hell, even Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2 had 5 to 6 buttons. Well, apparently a lot of control. Those backflips, flying kicks, and spins show the product of years and years of wasted youth at the arcade, mastering Frogger and Asteroids. You go, Destro. Number 36. When the Cobra slave driver checked Duke out to see what the slave girl, Selena, had slipped him, all he did was feel up Duke's chest and then give up. The gold plate was in his effing roll of sleep. How much does Cobra pay these lazy jerk-offs? My friend Jimmy Jammer may be a lame rod dingus, but even he's not that much of a deadbeat wanker while on the company dime, and he doesn't even work for something as important as the field profession of prison guard. Number 37. Why did the Joes use relatively slow snowmobiles to get to the North Pole instead of something like helicopters? I mean, I know the answer is to sell toys, but it seems counterproductive for the course of the story. And why did all the Joes strip off their Arctic gear as soon as they got to the entrance of the cave with the crystals that they were after? Number 38. So let me get this straight. Cobra gathered all these super rare elements to power their mass device once already, but instead of collecting an ass ton of each extremely difficult to get to element, more than they could ever use, and then destroying the rest so that they could never be challenged for mass device superiority, they just grabbed a gallon or 2 of each, and then left behind a whole lot of expensive motion-sensing guns and AI robots to guard the remaining stash? A plus strategerizing there. Number 39. Oh yeah! A Soviet Union reference as Cobra Commander calls out their leader for not submitting to him.
Premier Ivan Valenkov of the Soviet Union. I have you and your Red Square battalions in my view, comrade.
During this video threat, Cobra Commander proves that he never watched Sesame Street while growing up, though. He can't count. He tells the Soviet leader,
You have 10 seconds to comply.
But then less than 5 seconds later, he calls time.
Your time is up.
Number 40. Reagan was right. Soviets were total pussies. We so could have taken them in World War III. They have an army of thousands marching in Red Square. They have tanks and tons of nukes with them too when Cobra Commander transports them to a secret base. The Soviets are well armed, but they surrendered to no more than 25 Cobra troopers, proving that the US is the greatest country in the world. USA! USA! Seriously, why didn't one of them man up and set off one of the teleported nukes and just end Cobra once and for all? And Cobra took all those soldiers prisoners? Where the hell were they going to house them, and how would they feed them? Laser bullets are cheaper than chow, boys. Number 41. Destro then chastises Cobra Commander over his overuse of the mass device to threaten the world, telling him it's draining them of their limited supplies of the rare catalytic elements. CC just replies that the world doesn't even know they're low on them, which is a lie. The Joes have Dr. Vandermeer, who created the mass device. He would totally know how fast it would drain the elements with how much Cobra's device was being used. Number 42. After a harrowing battle with the Cobra robots while trapped in the radioactive mine at the North Pole, Snake Eyes tricks them into fighting and destroying each other because, as Scarlet says,
they can't tell who their friends are.
If that is truly the case, that is perhaps the shittiest military robotic AI ever, even for the 80s. Number 43. Duke must have really wussy-like slender women's fingers. He wears his ring on his middle finger, and when he gives it to Selena when he's about to leave the Cobra base, it fits the slave girl's middle finger quite snugly too. Number 44. Okay, so the Joes took snowmobiles to the North Pole instead of something faster. Cobra said, hold my beer, and they took their disposable tanks. Number 45. We all knew that Snake Eyes was a brooding loner, right? But until now, I never realized that he was actually suicidal. When he's in the cave running back to the rest of the Joes with the radioactive crystals in his possession, he shoots the radioactive shield down to block the radioactive cloud from getting to his friends. But the cloud is so damn far behind him, he could have easily walked past the shield and closed it from the other side. What's up with that? If they knew they were going after the radioactive crystals in the first place, why weren't they all packed in radiation-proof suits? Number 46. As for Duke's escape from the Cobra Fortress, holy crap, how far can one hang glider go? He started out in the dead of night, and he's still going strong in the morning, and oh man, that's a confirmed Death and Joe cartoon. Damn. Number 47. When Duke falls in the quicksand after being chased by an entire platoon of Cobra infantry and hisses and planes and everything else, only 2 Cobra troopers watch him sink below the surface, and they walk away after 3 whole seconds without firing a few shots in there to make sure he's kaput. They don't even try to recover the body, but they brag they'll be getting big bonuses for this despite no proof of Duke's death.
There'll be a bonus for all of us.
I swear to God, the Cobra Commander is paying these dumb too much. By the way, why were there so many Cobra troops and vehicles stationed that far away from the Cobra base, just sitting there in the swamp? Number 48. I have a friend who graduated with a political science degree, and not even he had an answer to my next perplexing plot point, and this was the first time ever his degree could have come in handy since he started working at Quiznos. So, if none of the world's nations would surrender to Cobra Commander when they were first asked to, why the hell do all of their leaders actually go to the island, unarmed I might add, that Cobra Commander demanded that they go to? Why not just say, you, from the safety of their capitals? Number 49. After all those leaders are teleported away by Cobra's mass device, the entire globe is surprised that such a thing could happen. Everybody in Joe HQ is confused out of their simple little gourds too.
Hey, what happened?
They're gone, man.
Screen's blank.
Despite the fact that Cobra's already teleported the Eiffel Tower and the entire Red Army away in the exact same manner just a few hours before. Number 50. After Duke is miraculously found and picked up by the Joes, where and how this happens, they don't show us. It just does, okay? Doc takes his unconscious body to the G.I. Joe HQ control room instead of the medical ward. Apparently he was never forced to take the hypochondriac oath. Number 51. Jeebus. Destro just punched a large hole out of a concrete wall out of anger. As a kid, I may have found that cool, but now the guy's got massive anger management issues. Too bad that Cobra doesn't include therapy in their health insurance. If they did, well, everybody there would be using it. It would cost way too much. Number 52. A bit of plagiarizing on Cobra's part here, but I'll bet they call it paying tribute. The Cobra search android that Major Blood sends into the cave to recover more radioactive crystals is ripped off directly from the Empire's interrogation droid that probed Leia in Star Wars. Number 53. Major Blood would be court-martialed and then shot in the head by any real army. He just lets the enemy walk away with the crystals that he was ordered to keep the Joes from getting at all costs. Sure, Snake Eyes was actively glowing and nobody wanted to touch him, but you don't need to get near somebody to put a bullet in him.
Let him go! He'll die soon enough!
Number 54. Apparently, diving to the bottom of the deepest sea trench in the world, several miles below the surface of the ocean, is no big feat. All you need is a fast sub to get you down there in less than 2 minutes. I seriously don't know what James Cameron was bitching about when he was filming Titanic. Number 55. Snake Eyes proves that wolves are just playful and loyal puppies in disguise as ferocious beasts. Pet one today. 56.
Hey, what's happening, landlubbers? Well, what are you all waiting for? Come on in, the water's fine.
One thing that struck me at this point in the story is that all the Joes are fun-loving and nice guys, while all Cobra Troopers are total dickheads. 57. Fun fact. Polar bears can grow as large as a 3-story building, and they love to eat radioactive glowing men who crackle with energy. Never go into the Arctic wilderness after visiting 3 Mile Island, and you should be okay. 58. Blind people apparently have better than 20/20 vision. Number 59. I guess neither Cobra nor the Joes realized that heavy water can be created in a lab since at least the 1940s. That would have saved them a trip or two to the bottom of the ocean and past those man-eating glowworms. Man-eating glowworms. Number 60. Scuba diving in a thin wetsuit thousands of leagues under the sea in the world's deepest ocean trench is fun and easy and warm. Even people who don't know the first thing about deep sea diving can do it and not get crushed by the water pressure, suffer the bends, or get crushed and freeze to death with hypothermia.
I believe none of us knows doodly squat about deep sea diving. So who do we have to ramrod this operation?
Good question, Stalker.
Number 61. I won't even comment on the giant tube worms and especially their battle cries. Number 62. One thing I was worried about in planning my deep sea hunting trip for hyper-prehistoric megalodon sharks was whether or not my guns would be able to fire at all under the waves. G.I. Joe shows us that they will indeed work and that they're even more powerful there due to some reason I can't even imagine. Number 63. I'm confused as to how the Joes can speak to each other while underwater with normal oxygen mouthpieces stuck between their teeth. They actually sound clearer than when they're talking over intercoms.
Affirmative!
Number 64. Okay. Say for a moment that I actually believe that this heavy water can actually power the mass device. Okay, sure. Now, how in the hell did Dr. Vanderbeek actually find this specific natural heavy water to discover that it absolutely ran his machine in the first place?
We are right over the deepest trench in the ocean floor. At the bottom lies a pool of heavy water.
The second of the 3 catalytic elements we've got to get before Cobra beats us to it.
It's at the bottom of the world's deepest sea trench in a small cave accessible only through a forest of giant man-eating tube worms and a tiny little opening. Not to mention that anything below 2 miles of ocean is blacker than my friend Carl's soul. Number 65. I just realized upon this rewatching of this miniseries that the Joes and Cobras just committed a mass extinction event upon one of the rarest creatures on the planet. Rest in peace, giant mutant man-eating tube worms. Number 66. Fun fact. The simple combination of leaves and herbs stops and cures lethal cases of radiation sickness. It's always the stuff right in front of you that you overlook. I guess the people of Chernobyl were too busy running for their lives and melting to actually think about stopping rolling in the mulch.
Your radiation sickness has gone, me bucko. A simple dressing of leaves and herbs draws out the contamination. And you're none the worse for it.
I also love how this blind loner with a beard way past his belly button, living in the Arctic wilderness, knows about radiation sickness and how to cure it. But then he sends Snake Eyes back out into the sub-zero weather without any jacket or even any gloves. At least he said, "Saints protect ya."
Saints protect you. Both of you.
I guess that counts for something. Number 67. The Joes prove that anybody with a few tin cans and some rocket fuel can build an operational, self-launching satellite with lasers.
A little closer to the relay star, and we can blow it to bits.
Number 68. Cobra has astrotroopers geared up 24/7 just waiting to be teleported into space. And apparently then left there as Cobra runs out of elemental power after they're shot into the astrosphere.
This will use up our last remaining bit of the 3rd metallic element, but we have no choice.
Number 69. I love how forward-thinking Cobra is sometimes. They left this canister in the radioactive mine in the Arctic for future use, but in case an enemy uses it, they have it rigged with paralyzing fumes.
The fumes! They have paralyzing properties!
And a bomb that is apparently set to go off 5 minutes after it's opened again. So they can plan for this, but once again, they never think to grab, say, 10 oil drums of the crystals and heavy water and meteor bits to power their mass device until the end of days? Number 70. Why would CoverGirl call the booby trap canister a fusion bomb?
Maybe enough time to get fusion bomb out of here.
And if it was a fusion bomb, would launching it a scant 50 feet away from the base truly save anyone's ass? And also is CoverGirl psychic? She calls Snake Eyes Wolf Timber before anybody can tell her its name.
Timber, you're my kind of wolf.
Unless Timber told her, which brings up even more questions. Number 71. So, what kind of freaky material is that 3rd and final element truly made of? It's a meteorite, sure, but it's been sitting in lava for 100,000 years?
More than 100,000 years ago, a gigantic meteorite survived entry into the Earth's atmosphere, plummeted into the crater known as the Devil's Cauldron.
And it's still okay? Even on a molecular level? I mean, this also falls into the category of how in the seven hells did the good doctor originally find this element and know it would power his teleportation machine in the first place? Number 72. Cobra Commander's battle mask must just be a hologram. He can eat turkey legs through it just fine and dandy. Destro's metal mask allows enough flexibility to do the same. Number 73. So Cobra has larger, more ferocious, and easily controlled robots than what were left behind in the Arctic cave, but he only uses them to try and kill his slaves for his own entertainment?
Wonderful! Delightful!
What a dick! Number 74. Just a small nitpick here, but when the Joes go to recover the third element in the volcano, why is Gung Ho flying Wild Bill's helicopter when Wild Bill, the trained pilot of said copter, is in the back playing with the cable? Number 75. Look how close these helicopters are to each other. Is this really the best and safest idea that the Joes could come up with? How did Dr. Vandermeer and then Cobra get this material in the first place without completely removing the meteorite from the active volcano? Number 76. The mass device is a learning computer, just like Skynet. Now, not only can it teleport, but it can blow things up. Cobra Commander tries to
destroy New York! The homing devices are in place! Destroy it now!
With this powerful, extreme, and slow laser ray of death. Number 77. Why is the government anti-terrorist unit of the US military so damn underfunded when compared to a tiny terrorist organization? I mean, Cobra has a flying aircraft carrier. We still don't have one of those well into the 21st century. Number 78. Okay, this one just seems wrong to me, but I can't actually vouch for this not making sense. I'm just going by the track record of the story so far. So, Cobra's forces shoot a hole into the side of the active volcano that has the meteorite percolating in it at the top, and this supposedly causes the top of the volcano to explode outward, shooting the insanely heavy meteorite thousands of feet into the air. No. What? They also make it seem like the entirety of the volcano's inner cone is filled to the brim with molten magma, as opposed to the magma just being a thin tube running up the middle of the mountain. If any volcanologists want to chime in, feel free. Moving on. Number 79. What the flying rat fart kind of plan was that?
You disgust me!
Cobra's plan to make the volcano erupt and shoot out the meteorite and catch it with their flying fortress was dumb enough already, but the way G.I. Joe tries to catch the meteorite when it goes hurtling into the air like a pop-fly baseball is embarrassing. A net between two sky strikers? Did they even study the physics of that plan? I had somebody take all my science class finals in high school, and even I know that if two 20-ton jets catch a 5,000-ton meteorite in a net between them while flying through the air at Mach 2, that something bad is going to happen to either A, the jets as the meteorite pulls them smashing into each other, if the net actually holds, or B, well, actually there is no B. Those pilots and their jets would be toast. Number 80. Once again, it takes only 3 Joes, one armed with only a crossbow, to stop an entire army that has anti-aircraft guns, rifles, and machine guns that is just itching to kill themselves a Joe. This time, Cobra looks like a bunch of total pussies on their own turf. Honestly, if I were in Cobra Commander's shoes, I'd cut back on the 40-story tall temples with snakes and detailed French moldings in every room, and I'd put more cash into buying mercenaries that actually don't surrender when somebody farts in their general direction. I mean, jeez, once again, that's really all he needs to take over the world is good soldiers. Have them sleep in an abandoned airplane hangar if you need to. They're being paid to be badasses. A fluffy bed in an air-conditioned super hideout obviously only softens them up. Number 81. Why did a highly trained commando/ninja bring a wild wolf with him on a helicopter on this super important mission to save the world? Number 82. Even though Scarlet is a trained ranger, master of 45 different martial arts, and perfectly capable of shooting arrows, she runs like Phoebe Buffay when chasing Destro through the corridors of the carrier. Number 83. Cobra has laser bars on their jail cells? Sweet. Too bad they know how to build them, but not escape them, as the Joes force way too many prisoners into each laser cell. Number 84. How the hell did Scarlet not see Destro just 10 inches above her eye line? Number 85. What is a thermal arrow, and why does Scarlet have one, let alone have it already cocked and ready to fire?
That was Scarlet's thermal arrow.
Number 86. What kind of soldiers are the Joes? They let Destro get away with the third element when they had him completely outnumbered and surrounded. Yes, Scarlet was his prisoner, but she's a soldier first. She'd have wanted them to shoot through her. She was probably hoping to go out in a blaze of glory like that. That's how tough people dream of dying.
The steel-skulled bum's got the meteorite and Scarlet, and there's not a thing we can do about it!
Number 87. Right after that, Scarlet proves that she's one tough cookie. She shoots out the controls of the plane in order to kill Destro and destroy their third catalytic element. That is very smart and noble of her. But wait, then she immediately helps her mortal enemy to fix the situation with her own grappler arrow. That's pretty damn dumb. She does call him a jerk though, so that's cool.
Not that one, you jerk!
Oh yeah, let's take a little break here. Someone's gotta drain his American weasel. Dun 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 dun. Now we return to the list of pain. Number 88. Okay, also, why don't the rest of the Joes who captured the Cobra carrier simply follow Destro's trail back to the secret base? They have an armada of aircraft at their disposal after taking over the ship, and they could easily slip past the early warning systems in a Cobra Rattler or something. Who the hell's in charge of these missions?
Good question, Stalker.
Number 89. And Scarlet shows why she's a badass Joe like Duke when she doesn't just let the bad guys put her in chains without a fight, and she's cool cause her lipstick glows in the dark. Number 90. Is Cobra Commander really such an incredible pussy that he lets his arms dealer take over his multi-billion-dollar organization? How did this loser even amass such a huge following when he's such a total pushover? He's gotta be like the France of the evil terrorist world. It was basically like Destro was Hitler and said, "Excuse me, you French weenies, but I would like to step on you and then take a big, nasty dump on your face while I take over your country. Danke." I don't know why that was in a French accent. I suck at accents. It was either that or an Indian accent, and that just would have been racist. I'm sorry. Number 91. When trapped in the prison cell together, both Scarlet and Selina kick and punch the crapola out of the only furniture that they have there for no reason at all. Number 92. When Destro becomes agitated with real-world politics dragging his plans for world domination down due to red tape, I just nodded my head in total understanding after having worked a government job for 11 years.
Not one nation has surrendered. This one must take a vote. That one wants to take it under consideration. Don't they realize they're dealing with Destro?
Oh, I'd say they all know that.
Number 93. Okay, two things here. First of all, why is the Joe Mass device's laser red when Cobra's is blue? It's the same damn machine. Did they really take the time to change its primary color during this deadly arms race for no reason at all? And secondly, how were they able to pinpoint the exact longitude and latitude and altitude of Cobra's laser and counteract it without a homing beacon or anything else to guide it to those precise coordinates? Number 94. After New York is saved, for the second time, the Joes celebrate in their HQ, and Scarlet is among them. Apparently, she didn't want to miss the festivities and had Cobra teleport her sweet ass home for a quick "Yo, Joe!" before being sent back to Selina's prison cell of forbidden sexuality. Number 95. When Scarlet and her new slave friends start making a break for it, it is obvious that Selina, the emaciated teenager who hasn't had a decent burger in years, fights better and is stronger than all the Cobra guards watching over the slave pits. Number 96. Holy crap. So Scarlet and Selina lead a slave rebellion against Cobra, and in the mass device room, they are hand-to-hand with Cobra troopers, and then one Cobra guy pulls out a frickin' bazooka and then aims it at the melee in front of him, which contains equal amounts of Cobras and slaves, before Scarlet knocks it out of his hand and tries to blow up the mass device with it. What was that guy thinking? Number 97. After Scarlet and her gal pal are recaptured and chained to the wall of their cell, Selina seems to throw her voice to Scar's mouth for no reason at all, unless that was Scarlet just mocking her by doing her voice.
Yes, you are very brave. Yes, you are very brave.
Number 98. Hold the phone. The Joes have a machine that can turn thoughts into digital images? Jiminy Christmas, that has got to be the most revolutionary and coolly scientific invention since the pocket orgasmic orb. Since the Joe team actually has such an incredible piece of tech at their disposal, why didn't they just concentrate all their efforts into capturing one single Cobra trooper and interrogating his sorry ass with that machine? Just get him drunk and throw him into the mind-reading tank, which coincidentally looks just like the meta tank that Luke Skywalker was fixed up with at the beginning of Empire. Number 99. Nobody ever answers this question, even though the entire finale is based around it. Why does Duke's ring have special electronic characteristics in it that are powerful enough to be used as a homing device half the world away?
The slave girl has Duke's ring. It's got special electronic characteristics,
which can serve as our homing device right into the heart of Cobra's hideout.
Why? For the love of God and all things holy. Why? Number 100. Wait, the Joes can just use the satellite that Cobra stole for their own mass device? Cobra's already shown that they added their own features to this thing before launching it, yet they didn't put some sort of firewall on it to prevent this very thing from happening? This shows why you should never underpay your IT staff. 101. Question. Are the Joes just allowed to send in troops into another sovereign nation's land without permission because they think a terrorist organization is housed there? Oh... right. Yeah, never mind. Number 102. Those vehicles the Joes use to carry their tanks up the sheer cliff are just the weirdest things I have ever seen. Where's the engine? How do they not tip backwards with the 60-ton tank, I looked it up, on their flimsy base? Who designed these things? And just a quick question, but how do those jetpacks work? I mean, are they mentally controlled? There doesn't appear to be any hand controller, yet Duke can pause and start his jetpack up again while it's hovering there as if he was one with it. And why did the Joes teleport to outside Cobra's base when the ring they were using as a transmitter was inside the structure? Number 103. I must point out how much the Cobra forces suck one more time. When the Joes first start to attack the Cobra Citadel, the Cobras have the high ground, a sheer cliff, and massive barricades along its entire side with cauldrons of boiling lava, and they still can't stop the invasion. Starving kids in Ethiopia fighting with their last remaining strength for a dried out piece of bread crust have more ferocity. Number 104. That Cobra Disco UFO vehicle is officially the lamest battle vehicle ever. Where can I get a toy of it? Number 105. Wait, how did the Sky Strikers get there? Were they teleported mid-flight? Did they just fly to the other side of the world in 10 minutes? Number 106.
We're in a pinch, Snake. What do you have? Magnet grenades, huh? Good thinking.
Magnet grenades? You know what, we're near the end. Whatever, Yojo. Number 107. Why doesn't Snake Eyes ever get pounded by his buddy's bullets? In several scenes, he's almost indistinguishable from the Cobra troops, and in the heat of battle, you just know that one of his trigger-happy friends would mistakenly see a big red Cobra insignia on his head from the bloodstains of all the baddies he killed in his Ninja Berserker rage. Number 108. Holy hell, I had to rewind that a few times too. What is in those exploding arrows? Are they like portable mini nukes or something? Number 109. And now the mass device can be used to aim its beam at the Earth's core, which, according to Cobra Commander, will make the planet explode.
The planet will explode!
That's the general idea!
Was that in the instruction booklet? Like, don't cross the streams? How does he know this? Number 110. Why do two battle-hardened Joes take away two of Cobra's most deadly soldiers behind themselves, with the Cobra agents' hands cuffed in front of them? If those two Joes are found with their necks snapped in a few minutes and their prisoners missing, I don't think anyone will be awarding them a hero's funeral. Number 111. If Cobra Commander was really trying to hide his identity and sneak away from the Joes after they captured his fortress, why did the moron put a basket on his head and a rug on his back? Why didn't he dress up as a regular Cobra trooper? Nobody would have known, and he wouldn't have been separated from his troops, which would have made escaping much easier later on down the road. Number 112. We made it. Okay, that's the end. G.I. Joe won. Cobra was destroyed, but Destro got away. by flying a loud and slow helicopter away into the night. But what the hell happened to the rest of the world leaders in the Soviet army? They didn't help in the fight in the end, nor did we see them freed. We saw what happened at the Eiffel Tower, though. My guess is that they were probably slaughtered and fed as Soylent Green to the troops and slaves. It must be hard to import a steady supply of beef that far up in the mountains. Alright, the list is done, but now I have the awards for the lamest lines as spoken in a G.I. Joe miniseries. First, the runners-up. Dr. Vandermeer, when he said,
"We have failed to pull Cobra's fangs."
Was he trying to be melodramatic? Were the writers drunk as my friend Carl by 6:15 every night when they wrote that? It is a mystery that I am not willing to dive into. And the final runner-up is Destro, when he says,
"Egotistical peacock,"
to Cobra Commander for being an egotistical peacock. Alright, now, third place, Duke, when he's chewing at Scarlet in the first episode.
Hey, bacteria brain! Come down and let's discuss your future as a mental patient!
I like this line, but had this been the real military, Duke would have said something a little more in the lines of, "Get the down here, soldier. You have two choices, being court-martialed or we curb stomping your ass like that guy in American History X." Second place, Selena, in her typical painful Russian/Hindu accent.
I must find a way to help him.
This was spoken as she pondered what she could do to save her man-meat eye candy Duke from getting the snot kicked out of him by that barbarian guy in the loincloth. And first place. There's a tie for first place, and both lines go to Destro. The first is,
"You psychotic, sibilant serpent of a dolt!"
And the second is,
"Reptilian popinjay."
Both tied for first place because they were both directed at the same person, Cobra Commander, and they both had words in them that I didn't understand. I still don't understand what sibilant means or what a popinjay is. Sibilant sounds kinky though, and knowing Destro, I'm guessing that a popinjay is a sex toy of some kind. I just want to thank you all for joining me on this journey of rememberings. Now you know how insanely awesome the 80s Joe cartoon, animated commercial, truly was. And knowing is half the battle. The other half of the battle is Jack Daniels. Good night.
Okay.
Yeah!